Hello and welcome to The Entrepreneurial Musician, a coaching service, podcast, and blog preparing today's musicians for tomorrow's realities. This is TEM223 titled Some Pointed Advice from Ben Folds. Thank you to Parker Mouthpieces for providing the hosting for TEM. Parker Mouthpieces offers fine, customizable component mouthpieces for horn, trombone, euphonium, and tuba, including the Andrew Hitz Artist Model Tuba Mouthpiece. You can find out more at parkermouthpieces.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Did you know that there is a TEM YouTube channel? Right? Yes, I am trying to get to 100 subscribers. There are still way more people that listen than watch because it hasn't been out that long. And I'm just about halfway there. As I'm recording this, I've got 46 subscribers. If you can help me get to 100, that's when you can name the channel. That's when you can start to do some customizations. So if you could go over there, you can follow the link in the show notes to go and subscribe. It would be a huge help. Thank you so much to everybody who's already done that. And thank you to the amazing Will Houchin of Pedal Note Media, who is taking all this video and he's doing an awesome job. He's a YouTube ninja. So thank you, Will. All right, TEM 223, some pointed advice from Ben Folds. This is a quote, which did I mention that it's pointed? There is a bad word in it, but I'm going to leave it in because I think it helps with the effectiveness of it. Ben said, quote, self-promotion. If you don't want anything to do with it, stay in your fucking basement. That is possibly my favorite quote in the history of the music business or about the music business. I played, geez, it's all been so long since, you remember gigs? I remember gigs. I played a gig with the National Symphony, and Ben Folds is the artistic advisor. This was a gig, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. And on that gig, Ben Folds actually was on. Unfortunately, I did not get to play with him because the whole orchestra wasn't in on the tune that he did. He did the tune with like a singer-rapper. But it was awesome. He's great. He's such a unique and remarkable musician, and it's pretty awesome that the NSO has made him artistic advisor. I saw him backstage, and I pretty much could have gone and said, hello to him and thanked him for this quote, but I'm pretty sensitive. I've been pretty lucky with getting to meet people. I got to meet Tom York. I've gotten to meet Trey Anastasio a whole bunch of times. Like a lot of my heroes I've already met, and so I try to only approach people when it's like 100% clear that it's okay. And he was kind of having a work conversation, and there wasn't really anywhere that I could stand without being super intrusive. And so I took the high road. I kind of wish that I had interrupted, but anyway, I wanted to thank him profusely for this quote, which I'm guessing would have made him smile. Here's the deal. Where are 99% of people, new people, going to follow or to find you, in 2020? The answer is online, right? Well, the signal to noise ratio online is just absurd. It's crazy how much noise there is. And so cutting through the signal is really, really, really difficult. So who the hell is going to promote you online if you're not going to promote you online? That's the problem, right? And even if you can get somebody to do it, who could possibly do as good a job as you can of speaking to your fans and of representing you? Now, there are some people who do PR really, really well, and there are some, but even those people tend to do a better job of people that already have an established voice, and then they just kind of seamlessly take over for a lot of money because there are a lot of people who will take your money to do PR for you who are terrible. How many of the 223 episodes of TEM do you think that I have disparaged mediocre PR professionals? I'd say at least 100. So it's because I'm warning you, don't waste your money on somebody. Most PR people are like most musicians, which is that they're perfectly fine, but there's nothing remarkable about their work and about their PR. And as I just said, the main problem online is cutting through all of the noise, and someone who's just fine, who's just good, who's competent at PR is not going to cut through any noise for you at all. So buyer beware. So so that's the thing, is you have to be okay with promoting yourself. And I've talked even recently in the No People Really Want to Pay You episode from just a couple of weeks ago. People want to hear from you. I swear they do. And some people don't, but the people who then follow you, who like your stuff, who choose to, they ask you to get in touch, whether that be on an email list or whether that's following you on Facebook or on Twitter, etc., that those people want to hear from you. And so, but you have to put yourself out there in a genuine human way, which, guess what that is? Self-promotion. And I think it seems that I feel like the tide is turning in terms of musicians being just like reflexively anti self promotion, because it's just getting so painfully obvious. It's been painfully obvious for a very long time, but it's getting like really painfully obvious now that you have to self promote yourself, or else just nobody hears about it. And so I really like Ben. He's not telling you to literally stay in your basement. He's just saying that if you want a career as a musician, you need to get over the whole self-promotion hang-up thing. And thank you, Ben, for putting that in a way and using language that gets the attention of somebody like me. So I also wanted to share a great quote from Derek Sivers, actually, and I got this from James Clear's newsletter. Which, if you do not subscribe to that newsletter, please, I'm begging you. It's amazing. It's the best regular email that I get into my inbox. Derek Sivers. This is from Derek's website, actually, and this is really powerful. The title of this post was "Where to Find the Hours to Make It Happen." And part of that post was this: when you experience someone else's genius work, a little part of you feels that's what I could have, would have, and should have done. Someone else did it, you didn't. They fought the resistance. You gave in to distractions. They made it top priority. You said you'd get to it someday. They took the time. You meant to. When this happens, you can take it two ways. You could let that part of you give up. Oh, well, now I don't need to make that anymore. Or you could do something about that jealous pain. Shut off your phone, kill the distractions, make it top priority, and spend the time. It takes many hours to make what you want to make. The hours don't suddenly appear. You have to steal them from comfort. That last sentence really got me. You have to steal the hours from comfort. Uh, this is really, really powerful when you see somebody who is having success. It is possible, I believe, to be jealous of someone's success, not in a "I wish that they didn't succeed" kind of way, just in a "oh wow, I had that idea, I wasn't able to execute it because of X, Y, and Z." And of course, there are real life reasons. However, most of the time, I find, I can speak for myself, and I know a lot of people who would agree with this, that most of the time when I can convince myself that it's because of these reasons that I had no control over. But the real reason is that I just didn't make the time and I didn't steal them from comfort. That's pretty powerful. A lot of us have the option of making a little less money, maybe saying no to a couple of projects that do help us to pay the bills, but if we're honest, are not the difference between paying our mortgage and not. Again, right now, in the middle of this pandemic, with all performances canceled, there some of them are starting to trickle back. But like some people, you have to say yes to absolutely everything right now. I get it. I'm just talking in general for the average person under normal circumstances, that maybe you have to put yourself on a really tight budget. However, you are able to then carve out 5 hours, 10 hours a week over the course of 6 months. And you are then able to do your genius work, which is going to pay you way more than those gigs that you turned down. The gigs could be playing, they could be teaching, they could be writing, they could be consulting, they could be doing anything. But I think that Derek makes a really good case here that we need to be proactive and we need to carve out the time for whatever it is that we are telling ourselves is really important. If I told you that your dream musician wanted to collaborate with you for a month, right? Whoever your person is, I don't know if you know this, but I'm fond of the band Fish. If Trey Anastasio of Fish was like, hey, Tuba Man, I want to make a record with you. I want to take a month. I want to write songs. I want to, like, we're going to do this, but we have to start this coming week. Guess what? Things are insane right now. There's a lot of things going on with like online school, and yeah, guess what? I would make it happen. And 99% of you, whoever the Trey is in your life, you would make it happen too. The bottom line is that you can make anything happen if you put your mind to it, and you'll put your mind to it if it's important enough, right? There are some things that would have moved the needle for me 20 years ago. But that if you said this can happen, and nowadays I'd be like, that sounds great. But maybe there's some things that I've already done. Okay, I've already traveled the world with a brass quintet many times over. If you even told me that there was a killer brass quintet, and let's say that it was safe, which it's not, just work with me here, and said that we were going to go on this great tour or whatever, but it has to be next week, I would not make that happen because it would cause chaos in a lot of the lives of the people around me, and I've already done that. However, that Trey example, etc., it's just showing that there's an issue with priorities, right? And by the way, I would, if I slept on it and I slept on it 5 times, I would say absolutely I'm going to pull in every favor I have to make that Trey collaboration happen. And no, I'm not going to make, and I'd kill to play with like a bad brass quintet right now with bad arrangements for an unreceptive audience. Like, sounds like a dream since I haven't done anything since I think it was the very end of February. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying, right? I would say one of those is way too hard to pull off on short notice, and I would say the other one is a no-brainer to pull off on short notice, even though they're actually the same amount of demand, and I would have to be asking the same thing of other people in terms of leaning on them heavily with favors. So guess what? That is a sign of my priorities, right? And so I couldn't clear my schedule for 5 different things like that Trey collaboration back to back to back to back to back. However, I do have time for something to do at once, right? So the point is that I need to always question when I say I don't have time to do something or I don't have the resources to do something. I actually do have the resources. I just need to actually carve them out and to take them away from comfort, as Derek said. So that Ben Folds quote is money, and I really thought also that Derek did a really great job of boiling down priorities. As you've probably noticed, there's been a lot of episodes recently on TEM about priorities, but I think it's because they're becoming more and more clear to me, and how important they are, and how to navigate them. And yeah, I've just been very reflective on it recently. So anyway, the other news is that there's some more interviews coming very soon. So my schedule has been so hard. There's a reason why there's been a whole bunch of solo episodes in a row. There's possibly a little daylight coming, so I've got a couple of people lined up to do interviews. I just haven't actually been able to schedule them because, because I haven't made the time. No, a lot of it now is just that my schedule kind of changes last minute, and there's, everybody's home all the time. So a lot of moving parts. So anyway, thank you to everyone for listening, subscribing, leaving a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get TEM, and simply for your attention, especially Trey, if you're listening. The most valuable commodity any of us have to give. TEM is produced by Will Houchin and is a part of the Pedal Note Media Podcast Network. The theme music for TEM is played by Ben Barron, Rich Kelly, Daniel Lapel, myself, and not Trey Anastasio. For show notes, the TEM blog, and to learn more about TEM coaching, please visit our new website, tem.fm. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, please subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel. And that is going to do it for another episode of The Entrepreneurial Musician.